You're now listening to All HOGS Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
Arkansas is moving on to the Sweet 16. Back-to-back Sweet 16 appearances for Eric Musselman and this men's basketball squad. Arkansas defeated the New Mexico State Aggies 53-48. So much to talk about in this one. But first, let's just talk about the defensive clinic that Arkansas put on. Whoever's the defensive coach for this Arkansas team as an assistant, I'm not really sure. But if they want to apply for any mid-major jobs in the future, send them the film of this game. The way that Arkansas defended as a team was huge, in the way that they were able to help Toney and his defense on Teddy Allen was huge. Teddy Allen had 37 points against UConn. So Arkansas went out there and made its job to defend and stop Teddy Allen because they don't have really a lot of options on this New Mexico State team. Allen was 5 out of 16 from the floor, 2 out of 6 from 3, and only had 12 points, and he had 3 turnovers as well. Arkansas mainly had Toney playing defense on Allen, and then there was a lot of help situations. A lot of this, though, is Toney's defense and athleticism has been used as a scoring threat. And the reason you really didn't see him score much in this game, Toney only had 7 points. He had 2 rebounds. It's because when you're putting so much energy into that defense that he had on Allen, which was absolutely incredible. I mean, that's some NBA-level stuff right there. Not many teams go out there and defend the way that Arkansas did as a team and help the defense on Allen and shifting him towards his weaker spots on the, his shooting splits and such. But what Toney did was incredible, and he used all that energy on defense. So on offense, you'll see Toney a lot of the times more resting and just kind of creating space for Arkansas. Arkansas offensively struggled a good amount, but Eric Musselman was talking about it, and he said he kind of put some of that on himself for not preparing the team for some offensive sets and things like that. The shooting really struggled, but Arkansas was huge from the free throw line, 22 out of 25. Like I said, though, the defense on Allen was absolutely incredible from a team and a perspective of Toney. Lots of help, double teams and traps limited Allen's ability to, basically win this game for the New Mexico State Aggies. But Musselman was talking about how, as an NBA coach, he, played guys like Kobe Bryant and all these other talented defenders, and he has the notes. He was saying this in his press conference, that he puts all his notes on his email. So he's able to go look at those notes on how they defended, and he kind of said he put that game plan in there like he defended Kobe Bryant, like he did for the Kings and the Warriors back in the day in his time in the NBA. So Musselman having that NBA experience not only is huge on that recruiting trail. I mean, Arkansas number 2 class right there next season, going to be fantastic, but it's huge for coaching as well, and how to stop guys like Teddy Allen. And Teddy Allen is obviously not as good as any of those other guys that Musselman has prepared for, but relatively in the NCAA tournament, if you have a guy go off like that, you can win a lot of games. And then more of the guards, less the wing played. Note Devo played fantastic defense on New Mexico State's second option, Rice. He was the point guard for the Aggies. He was 2 for 10 off the floor, 1 for 5 from 3, only had 5 points, so they played really good defense on him. Note did foul out of this one. However, his foul trouble really wasn't even on the defensive side. You usually see him pick up a lot of fouls early on, and then he sits the bench. But what happened in this one is he got all 5 in the second half. 4 of those were charges. The charge block has been really bad in college basketball. Lots of times where guys are still moving is called a charge. But there was one play where Note drove to the basket, and it was not even near a charge, and it got called as such. But, it's Pat Adams, for what it's worth. Note put up 18 points, huge from the free throw line, 7 out of 8 there. He only shot 3 3-pointers. He was 1 for 3 there. Field goals was 5 out of 18. So, statistically wise, it's been a rough stretch for Note. Field goal percentage against New Mexico State, 33.3% from 3, 27.8 off the floor. Versus Vermont, he was 31.13% from the floor. A&M, 25%. LSU, 28.6%. He has not shot above 31.3%. That's his highest that he's shot at off the floor since his huge game against Kentucky where he had 30 points. But again, though, he's still been able to affect ways other than that. He had 3 steals against Tennessee, 4 against LSU in the regular season, and last night he tied an Arkansas record for steals in an NCAA tournament game, picking up 8 steals. He was huge on the defensive end and creating turnovers and causing a lot of problems for New Mexico State. They had 19 turnovers. Huge for New Mexico State, though, was Johnny McCants. He had a really good game for them, 16 points. He was 6 out of 13 from the floor. They really started driving to the hoop, getting some easy layup opportunities, and he went to the line 2 out of 3 times in this one. Arkansas was huge off the glass. Jalen Williams, Arkansas did get out-rebounded for what it's worth, but Jalen Williams was just cleaning the glass. 15 rebounds in this one, 10 points. That's another Jalen Williams double-double. A really important statistic here that is interesting to note because Arkansas had 14 field goals, 14 made field goals in an NCAA tournament game in the second round, and they advanced. But what's really awesome to see is Arkansas had those 14 buckets, and 10 of those were assisted baskets. Obviously, Arkansas did not shoot the ball well. The offensive sets kind of created issues, but Arkansas did get baskets. They were really moving the ball around, creating good assists. Arkansas, 10 assists to 12 turnovers, but mainly that the 12 steal number really kept them in that, getting some fast break points. Arkansas had 2 really good passes. Devo Davis made a thread-the-needle pass in a fast break situation. Jalen Williams had literally a touchdown pass. He heaved it down the court to JD for an easy 2. The way that these guys see the court, though, is truly at an elite level, and one of the reasons that this team is in the Sweet 16. Amude was seeing the court fantastically. He had 3 assists. JD had 3 assists in his 31 minutes before he fouled out. Jalen having 3 assists. These guys just see the court at such a good level and have been able to really maximize what they've been able to do when the team's making shots. Again, shooting 27.5% from the floor, 18.8% from 3, and winning an NCAA tournament game really shows how good that defense was. And the reason this defense is so good, I think, is because of the drills and how locked in these guys are. When you're playing defense more so than offense, you got to be locked in. You got to be at your top, status for wanting to play for the coach. And, you got to get you guys to play defense. And Musselman has been able to do that this season and the last season. Arkansas finished top 10 in a KenPom defensive adjusted efficiency. Right now, Arkansas is sitting at 13. And the main thing, defense will travel. Regardless of where you go in the NCAA tournament, that defense will travel. And it won't rest either. So Arkansas playing at that hands-up defense. When the other team takes the ball across half court, Arkansas's got their hands up. They're ready to face guard guys. They're ready to play at their style of defensive basketball. And yes, is some stuff on the offensive end concerning? I agree. But mainly for Arkansas, stopping Teddy Allen here, playing that defense was just huge. Now, coming out of the other side in the West region was number 1 seed Gonzaga. They defeated Memphis last night, did not cover in that one, but Arkansas is going to have a really tough task versus Gonzaga. Last season, when Arkansas faced off against Baylor, the eventual national champion, I was in the same boat of very, very tough spot. But in this one, I think Arkansas has a shot. Their defense has them playing games. And, really, the team's fighting under Musselman. 59.5 points allowed per game on average by Arkansas. With that number, especially, even adjusted, Arkansas is still at a really high spot, 13th in the nation. But defensively, Gonzaga's up there too. They're sitting at, I think, top 10 defense and offense. They are really talented, especially guys like Drew Timme, Chet Holmgreen, Nemard. Arkansas is going to have their hands full here to guys to guard. And I do think it's nice, though. Arkansas will have a lot of days off. Obviously, they've got to fly from Buffalo, probably back home, maybe. I'm not sure how that works, but they do play San Francisco Chase Center. The game's going to be on Thursday, March 24th, and they haven't announced any other details besides that one. But Arkansas in the Sweet 16 against Gonzaga. Main thing here for the Hogs, though, is they've got to be able to establish a better type of offense. I mean, you've just got to score points to beat Gonzaga, because they're obviously going to have chances to score second chance points with the rebounders like they have Timmy and Holmgren. I mean, Timmy was fantastic in the second half of yesterday's game, and Arkansas defensively has to find an answer for Drew Timmy. I mean, you look at Jalen Williams, the 6'10", 240 sophomore, but then who's going to guard Timmy? Probably Toney. And it kind of goes on from there with the amount of weapons that Gonzaga has. However, I'll have a full preview of everything with that Gonzaga game. I'm going to watch the film on how Alabama ended up beating Gonzaga and everything and so forth. You can catch that episode out, though, Wednesday morning, so you can listen to it Wednesday, and then you'll be ready for the Sweet 16 game, the next game. So, make sure to stay tuned for that one, though. Huge win for Arkansas moving on to the Sweet 16. Defense was critical in this one. Player of the game, easily Toney. But, signing off for now, Woo Pig Suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!